people, and welcome to T's Cloud Talks. Yay! Episode 1. This is actually happening now. It still feels a bit unreal, but we move. But guys, before we do anything else, do me a quick favor, go and grab you something to drink. Tea, coffee, water, hot chocolate, anything. Even snacks if you've got them. Literally nothing's off limits at T's Cloud Talks. So just relax for a bit, no pressure. This is just a conversation. So let me be honest with you. In today's episode, I just want to take you through my AWS journey, how I started, the mistakes I made, the times I stopped and started again, and how I eventually moved into building real projects and even going for my AWS Solutions Architect Associate. So yes, this isn't going to be a perfect story. It's just my real journey, the good, the confusing, and everything in between. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll feel a bit more confident in your own journey too. So let me be honest with you. When I first started learning AWS, I honestly thought it was going to be easy. I thought I'd watch a few videos, make a few notes, do a couple labs, and that would be it. AWS humbled me very quickly because the moment I opened everything and saw EC2, IAM, VPC, Route 53, auto scaling, I just sat there thinking, what is actually going on here? What is going on? But at the same time, something about cloud computing interested me. And I like the idea of building things. I like the idea of creating systems that people could actually use. And even though I didn't fully understand it yet, I knew I wanted to keep learning. So instead of spending months trying to memorize everything first, I actually started with projects. Yes, projects. My first project was a single tier architecture project. Now, at the time, I'm not even going to pretend I fully understood everything I was doing. I was honestly just trying to survive. But when I got that first project working, that feeling was different, because suddenly cloud computing stopped feeling theoretical and it became real. And then after that, I moved into building a 3-tier architecture project, and that's when things started getting a little more serious, because now there were more moving parts, more services, more confusion, but also more understanding. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I stopped and started more times than I can count. And there were days I felt motivated, and then there were days where I opened AWS and immediately wanted to close the laptop, because sometimes I just felt like information overload. And I remember one moment specifically, I was just sitting there looking at my notes, my projects, everything, and I just felt mentally tired. Because when you're learning something technical, especially if you don't come from a deep tech background, it can obviously feel very intimidating. And I think sometimes people online make it look easier than it actually is. But behind the scenes, there were times I had to rewatch the same lesson multiple times, and then I finished studying and still feel confused. And that was so frustrating to me. And honestly, there were moments where I genuinely questioned myself. I remember thinking, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe everyone else understands this quicker than I do. But one thing I realized is everybody struggles at the beginning, and some people are just better at hiding it. And eventually something changed for me. I stopped trying to rush the process, and instead of trying to memorize every single service, I started focusing on understanding what the services actually do. So instead of just memorizing S3, I started understanding, okay, this is storage. And instead of memorizing EC2, I started understanding, okay, this is basically a virtual server. And slowly things started making sense. But eventually I realized confusion is a part of learning, and if you never feel confused, you're probably not growing. And once I accepted that, I stopped putting so much pressure on myself. And that's when I started properly working towards my AWS Cloud Practitioner certification. Can I get a whoop whoop? Yay! And honestly, that certification helped me connect the dots. It gave me structure, it gave me direction, and most importantly, it gave me confidence. And one thing I learned during that period is this: you do not need to know everything at once. And I think that's where a lot of people get overwhelmed. They look at AWS and one massive thing they have to master immediately, but that's not how it works. So after my CCP, I decided to push myself even further, and that's when I started preparing for the AWS Solutions Architect Associate, the SAA. And wow, that was a complete different ball game, because now it wasn't just about knowing what services are. Now it became, how do you design systems properly? How do you make them scalable? How do you make them secure, highly available? And that's where architecture really started becoming interesting to me. So if you're at the beginning of your AWS journey right now, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Seriously, everybody starts somewhere, and trust me, nobody understands everything immediately. And instead of panicking this time, I just slowed down, because I realized something important. AWS is not about speed, it's about understanding. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I wanted to start T's Cloud Talks, because when you're learning tech, sometimes it can feel isolating. Everybody online looks like they know exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, you're sitting there trying to figure out why your architecture diagrams suddenly stop working. Or why one tiny IAM permission has destroyed your entire day. And don't even get me started on debugging. But seriously, if you're learning AWS right now, I just want you to know something. You are probably doing better than you think. Growth in tech is weird sometimes, but you don't always notice your progress immediately. But one day, you'll suddenly realize, wait, I actually understand this now. So yeah, that's a bit of my journey so far. And honestly, I'm still learning, still building, still growing. But I think that's the beauty of it. So thank you guys for tuning into episode 1 of T's Cloud Talks. I genuinely appreciate it, and hopefully, if you're on your own journey right now, this reminded you not to give up. So yeah, grab your tea, open your laptop, and let's keep building. I'll catch you guys in the next one.